Can you find sister?
There you go.
Oh, sister, introduce yourself to us now.
Oh, my name is Wamboi, and I'm from Kenya. Yeah.
So, how long you been in Australia?
I've been here for about 22 years. With about 2 whole years of those 22 back in Kenya. So, yeah, like I've had like nice long chunks of, one time for about a year and 4 months back home. And then again recently for about 6 months. What brought me to Australia? I came to study. I went to uni in Wollongong.
What did you study, sister?
I studied biomedical science.
Wow, so you done it.
Yes.
So you working here.
I work here, yes.
Are you maybe in the future thinking of taking your skills to motherland?
Yes, I'd like to do that. I would like to do that, but more than just what the industry I work in, I'd like to go back to Kenya and say start a business and grow that business back in Kenya. So I would like to take my money back to Africa and use that money to develop Africa further. This is my son, yes.
He's born in Australia.
Born in Australia, yes.
Yeah.
He spent 6 months in Kenya recently.
Right. So is he learning a little bit of Kenyan culture?
Yeah, Kenyan culture, Swahili. He says words in Swahili and he knows how to say a word in Swahili and the same thing in English.
So do you think it is good for us to teach our children about our culture?
100%. I think it is very important because I think as much as these kids are born here in Australia, they are Australian, but they are also not Australian. I don't know whether you understand what I mean by that, because they'll grow up here, they'll be born here, they'll grow up here, they'll go to school here, all of that stuff. But when they meet someone, they'll be asked, so where are you from? And it's very confusing for our kids if we've not taught them where they're from and to also love where they're from and that culture. When they're asked where they're from, they're lost. So I think we need to teach them because that's part of their identity. If we don't do that, I feel like we're failing our children. Nyama, tutaenda kuchukua nyama. See, he's asking for nyama. Nyama in Swahili means meat. So he saw some meat being barbecued and he wants some nyama. You not nyama? Yes. Yeah.
So, do you still keep Kenyan culture even though you're living in Australia for 25 years? Do you still keeping your culture?
100%. In my household, we cook Kenyan food. I speak Swahili to my kids. We're very connected to our family back home. And yeah, we speak very highly of our culture. Like I speak very highly of my culture, so my kids love to appreciate and love it. It's not something that they want to, not be associated with, because I think it's very easy for the kids who are born here to want to fit in so much that they want nothing to do with their culture. And it's in their detriment later on. And we find like a lot of our kids, they grow up and then when they're like in their 20s, they start trying to fill those gaps. But, like we could have done that when they were little so that they grew up knowing all of that stuff. Yeah.
What's your message?
My message
to the African people living outside Africa?
outside Africa, I think let's be proud of who we are. Let's be proud of our culture. Let's spread our culture and let other people know our culture. Let's spread a different narrative to what people know of Africa. Like a lot of people think of Africa and they think, oh, poverty, oh, flies on the kids' faces. So many rich stories from Africa. Let's show other people that are not from Africa that Africa is rich and we are proud Africans. Yeah.
Oh, my sister. It's powerful. It's powerful.
The narrative that most Europeans, most Westerners bring from Africa is poverty. Let's help these poor people. We don't need help. Like, I don't think we need help. I don't think we need their charity. If you want to help Africans, like, help us by spreading what is good about Africa. Let's build Africans and show them that we can do it. We don't need, like, do we need charity? Like, don't come and give us your pennies and think you've done us a big favor. Like, show the world that Africa is great because we really are great and we can do it. Inspire us to be big, to reach for the sky and do what we're capable of doing. Like, yeah, we don't need saving, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just going back to what he's saying, why do you think Africa don't need help?
I think that it's like when you make people think that they're not capable of doing something themselves and that they need help, it makes their mental state really believe that, and then they won't actually do things. But if you inspire people, like if it's a child and you want a child to do something, you don't always do it for them, right? You inspire them to do them, you encourage them to do it, and then one day they realize they can do it and they do even bigger things. So that's exactly what I think of, Westerners coming to Kenya, not to Kenya, just Kenya, to Africa and giving us their pennies and feeling like they're so great they've saved us. It's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but we need more than that. Like, because that's what's been happening for years and years and years. And it makes Africans be in a place where they feel that like they're not capable of doing things themselves. We need encouragement. We need to be inspired. So that's what we need more, not just Westerners, like basically even fellow Africans. We need to encourage each other to do stuff, not to be given. Like the things that you're given will never satisfy you. It's never gonna be enough. You know what I mean? You need to fend for yourself and make whatever you need. You know what I mean? Like we need to keep making what we need, not going, oh, give me. Give me will never be enough. And when you're given, it's also a control mechanism. So we're given charity, and then we're in a position, we feel like, oh my God, these people we need them, and then we give our control. You know what I mean? I feel like we don't need to be controlled. So if this charity comes with control and whatever, we don't need it. We can do it ourselves.
What sort of Africa would you like to see?
I want to see an Africa that encourages its young people to be creative, to be inspired to do whatever their dreams are and make Africa, those are the places that they want to go to and, experience those other places. We can do that. We can make our Africa that thing. Every time I go back to Kenya, I am amazed at how much development, how much progress. It's so inspiring because when you live in the West, you are made to feel like, oh, you're African, you're not capable of this. We have to work so much harder to prove ourselves. But you go to Africa and people are doing all these great things and it's so inspiring. So that's the kind of Africa that I want. I want our children to be inspired to keep building our Africa because it's our Africa, it's our Mother Africa. We love it. Like, there's no place better than home.
Just one more thing, and I always ask everyone, because regardless of our birthplace, any black man is an African. What's your message to those black people that were born outside of Africa as a result of slavery?
I just say believe in yourself, you're capable, you're great. Yeah, believe that narrative. You are everything that anyone that is, seen as a higher hierarchy than you. You are everything that that other person is. So believe in yourself and you can achieve everything that whoever is up here, that is you're meant to believe is up here, can achieve. Like you're no lesser. So believe in yourself.
You ask them to come to Africa or visit Africa, to the motherland, to visit or even to settle in Africa?
100%, I think they should if they want to, but that is also a very individual thing. They were born wherever they were born, so they haven't got those deep affiliations for Africa. But I'd encourage, anyone that has roots in Africa to visit. It's a lovely place. Go see what Africa is like and see whether you get connections to the motherland. It's an amazing place. For me, it's just, I can't tell you how great Africa is. It's just amazing. Yeah.
What do you feel like to live in Australia?
Australia is a beautiful country. It's very easy to live in, but for me, what I struggle with living in Australia is that it's not a very connected, we don't have community connections here in Australia. So it's very easy to feel isolated, feel alone and all of that stuff. I find that for me to feel grounded and connected, I actually have to go out of my way to make my own connections and keep those connections alive. And if I wasn't doing that, I think I would struggle living in this country. Yeah.
But back home is different.
Oh, back home is different. Even today, I'm talking to my family and they're going to a family gathering, they've got a wedding. And that's the thing in Africa, there's always something that's happening that connects the people. And you feel like you're part of a bigger thing, not just you. You're not a silo, you belong, you have your people, you have your networks, you have, you just feel really connected in Africa. And it's a great thing. Here you can create it, but you have to work hard to do it. Whereas in Africa, that's just the way life is.
But the thing that you probably, when someone is in Africa, don't realize that, don't see that.
Exactly.
Think that you are the place up there.
Yes. You always think the grass is greener on the other side. But I think we just need to watch out the grass where we are, and we're gonna be happy. Yeah.
My sister, thank you so much. If you have anything that I haven't asked you and you feel from your heart to say it, please be free.
Gosh, I feel like your questions have led me to say what I'd like to say. But I think for me, what I'd like to say is good on you for creating this channel and reconnecting Africans. It's such a good thing. We need all sorts of creative minds to try and, build the Africa that, is great, and just put that narrative out there and encourage us Africans to continue being great. Yeah, not to be great, to continue being great, because we already are great. Yeah.
One word that you want to say to the president of Africa.
Presidents of Africa. We need to fight corruption. Really, we need to find a solution for corruption. And we need to have leadership that is not selfish, that is for the people, because politics in Africa, I find, is a very selfish endeavor. A lot of politicians want to be in those positions so that they can enrich themselves. So I really pray that one day our African leaders, presidents, will arrive at a place where it's not selfish and it's service to the people. Yeah.
Wow, my sister. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sister.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Welcome to Reconnecting Africa. Thank you, my sister.
Love Africa.
We love Africa, and we just had a wonderful conversation with my sister. So please, if you get watching this, or later on you'll be watching this, please support us. We are very new on YouTube. Like it, subscribe, comment. We are doing all this for Africa. Until then,
Subscribe.
subscribe.
Awesome.
Reconnecting Africa.
Awesome. Reconnecting Africa.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, my sister.